Like every time he says something, it sounds like it's his dying breath, bro. In my dying wishes, I want to make sure that mass circumcision is a practice that is abolished and made criminal. Even for religious purpose, there is no exception to the horrific, barbaric mutilation practice. Anyway. Trump is live for an announcement. Let's take a look.
Drugs, one of the great companies, by the way, and a most favored nation's pricing clause. So most favored nation is you're going to pay whatever the lowest price anywhere in the world is. That's what you're going to be paying. And I had it going very well in my first term, but we were interrupted by a rigged election, so I was unable to carry it forward. We started it. But this was something one of the reasons I wanted to run again was we had to have favored nations where the world is not going to be paying just a fraction, just a tiny fraction of what we were paying. I want to thank CEO Pascal Soriot, a very highly respected, one of the most respected men in business and certainly in the industry, for joining us today, as well as Secretary Howard Lutnick, Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., CMS Administrator Mehmet Oz, FDA Commissioner Marty McCary, and Virginia Governor, a man who's done an incredible job, and good luck with the upcoming election. Please. I know you're working very hard. I watch you. You're right there. He's out there working. He wants to see that young woman win, and the Attorney General, who I endorsed, et cetera, et cetera. Glenn Youngkin. Thank you very much, Glenn. Thank you for being here. For many years, Americans have paid the highest prices anywhere in the world for prescription drugs by far, many times the amount that other countries are paying is ridiculous. Upon taking office, I signed an executive order to make sure that Americans pay no more for prescription medications than the lowest price or the same drug in other locations in developing nations. Today, AstraZeneca is committing to offer all of their prescription medications to Medicaid at most favored nations prices. In other words, the lowest price anywhere in the world, that's what we get. A move that will save American taxpayers hundreds of millions.
What's going on with the audio?
And I tell the story, Glenn, that in my first term, I had the honor of being the first president in 28 years to lower drug prices during the course of the year. And we actually did, and I was so proud of myself. We called a news conference. I announced it. It was 1/8 of 1%. 1/8 of 1%. Now drug prices are going to be going down 100%, 400%, 600%, 1,000% in some cases. But for 1/8 of a cent, Bobby, think of that. I was so proud because for 28 years, nobody had done it. And now it's, I think back to that, I said I shouldn't have had that news conference, but it is true. I was the only one that did it, but it was not very much. And now we're going to get, in some cases, 1,000% reduction. This is going to have a huge impact on everything from Social Security to Medicare to Medicaid, anything where they're buying any prescription drugs. It's going to have an incredible impact. It's going to lower itself greatly. AstraZeneca will also list many of their most popular drugs online at TrumpRx.gov. TrumpRx. I don't know why they put the name Trump. I did not tell them to do it, but I'm honored to let them do it. That's true, actually. That heavily reduced most favored nations cost. Americans can expect discounts, and as I said, it could be in many cases way over 100%.
This is him trying to offer some semblance of treats. Not even treats, but like this is him trying to offer a little bit of like material improvement to his base right now. And he wouldn't be doing this if he didn't recognize that he's hemorrhaging support.
They're going to be averaging about 600.
Okay, that's what it is. Remember when I talked about like he ran and I guess seemingly made a convincing case that he would be better for prices and the cost of living crisis that people are facing, people are experiencing.
Will also be sold at these heavily discounted rates.
only to
Furthermore,
not do that at
AstraZeneca
all,
will invest $50 billion
and
in
to
the
focus
United
on,
States over
you
the
know,
next 5 years
barring
for
trans
research and
athletes
development of new drugs and to
or
onshore
just a whole bunch of different things
manufacturing
like
facilities
that
across the country, like the
that
new
don't actually
plant
improve
that
people's
broke
living
ground
conditions at
yesterday
all.
in
This is his
Charlottesville,
opportunity to try
Virginia,
and
where the governor attended. They had
try and fix at least one
tremendous
aspect
group
of
people
this.
attending. It's going to have 3,600
You know?
jobs just to begin with. And that's going to be a fantastic plant. I saw a picture. It's going to be the best, right? You can't get any better. This is a tremendous victory for Virginia and for American patients and for everything, for the country. It's an amazing company to have coming over to the United States in such a big way. That's going to be a big part of the company. Presidents have promised for years to lower the cost of health care. But my administration is actually the first to do it and do it. Somebody thought, even I thought, were not possible. When you think of it, if you got a 1%, 2%, 5%, that's good. You did a good job. We're talking about 100, 200, 300, 500, 700 in some cases, some big, big numbers. And the largest drug companies in the world are working with us to make this a reality. And so I look forward to being at your opening of that incredible facility. I hear something, and it's in a great location, Len, right? One of the beautiful locations. So I'd now like to ask Secretary Kennedy to say a few words, followed by Dr. Oz, Pascal, Governor Youngkin, and we'll take some questions afterwards. Would anybody like to have some questions? Yes? Oh, I'm shocked. Okay, we'll take them right after, okay? Bobby, please.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Oh my God.
I talked about this a little yesterday in the cabinet meeting.
We are going to make it so that it's illegal to get circumcised.
This historical achievement is really monumental. When I was in my confirmation process, virtually every Democratic senator showed me their preoccupation with making sure that we completed, that I was going to continue to get a commitment from me to continue the IRA drug price negotiations. That the IRA required the Democrats, while President Biden was in the first year of the IRA, to negotiate 10 drug prices down. And then I was supposed to, my first year, negotiate 15 and 15 every year thereafter, and that was their plan. The Democrats claimed that they had a 22% reduction, and that was a great success. When we actually looked at that, when I came into the agency, we realized we were actually paying more for 8 of the 10 drugs. The 22% reduction was off of list price. And Medicare ended up paying more for 8 of the drugs, equal for the 9th, and about a 2% discount.
I'm going to be honest, dude. I think they should never let RFK Jr. do speeches. Like, people are going to say I'm being ableist, but like, he has like, it's not like Kash Patel. Like, Kash Patel creates an environment of uncertainty whenever he speaks. But like, whenever RFK speaks, I just think of pestilence. I think of disease. It's just so difficult to understand what he's saying. Like, the vibes are horrendous either way. I just think of utter decay. When Stephen Miller speaks, I think this guy is so nerdy. Oh my God, what a unfuckable loser he is. Every administration figurehead has their own unique, unlistenable quality. Very interesting.
And Chris Klump and the other people we brought in were all pessimistic. The president saw something that we didn't see, which is we had leverage. And that came through Howard and the tariffs, and we had extraordinary leverage to craft these deals. So last week we had Pfizer.
Every time RFK Jr. speaks, it sounds like it's his last breath. Like, every time he says something, it sounds like it's his dying breath, bro. In my dying wishes, I want to make sure that mass circumcision is a practice that is abolished and made criminal. Even for religious purpose, there is no exception to the horrific barbaric mutilation practice.
Those companies would keep their promise to our national security purposes for our economy. It's critical. These companies are making these drugs in the United States. We were able to achieve all those things, and partially with the visionary help of Pascal, where is he? Of Pascal Zorias, who understood that innovation and the business doesn't work if everybody is not pulling the oars, if everybody doesn't have the skin in the game. The whole world was riding on our shoulders and riding on our dime. 70% of pharmaceutical revenues comes from this country. We only have 4.2% of the world's population, and we were paying for 80 or 90% of the innovation here, and the rest of the world was a free rider. And Pascal understood that that's not fair, and it's not a good, sustainable, long-term business model. And he came to the table. He was one of the first leaders to come to the table. I want to thank him for his vision, for operating with us in good faith. And this is an extraordinary deal. Not only that, but as the president just pointed out, he is also reshoring this industry here. He has 19 facilities already operating in this country. He has this other facility in Albemarle County that Dr. Oz went with Governor Youngkin and broke ground on yesterday. He has a second facility that is under construction in Kendall Square in Boston, another facility in Rockville, Maryland, and a fourth facility in Copper, Texas, right outside of Dallas-Fort Worth. And he's got plans for building many more in this country, thanks to the president's leadership, to the tariffs, and to the common sense the president has demonstrated in his own commitment to make drug prices lower for hardworking Americans. So I want to thank the president for your visionary leadership. I want to thank Dr. Oz for his part, and Marty McCary in negotiating this deal. Dr. Heidi Overton, Theo Merkel, Chris Klump, and John Brooks, who all played critical parts in the negotiation. And of course, Howard Lutnick, who was the key to these negotiations. Who do we bring up now? Dr. Oz.
Thanks, Secretary.
He'll take your place, Pascal.
Oh, Pascal, I get to introduce Pascal, which I'll do with great joy and honor. So the world is watching as President Trump tries to make peace in every place he can go.
He nutted, yes.
But at the same time, President Trump is putting peace into the hearts of Americans and bringing peace of mind to them, especially Americans who cannot afford their medications. And just to put a number on this, as he releases us from the bondage of paying 3 times more for the exact same product made in the same factory, in the same pill box, in the same instruction manual overseas, rather in this country than we pay overseas, it creates an opportunity for us because, Mr. President, you're turning the art of the deal into the art of the heel. And that is something that you're going to witness today. And it's the second, we have more coming, but this is very important ones because I want to set the stage here. And Ms. Secretary, you're too modest. Secretary Kennedy did have a vision to push hard on this. He understood we could give the right medications to the right people at the right time. And there is nothing more maha than giving folks life-saving medications in a timely
maha
fashion.
out here, bro. They saying
illnesses
maha.
and treat other ones that have already occurred. You save lives that way. That literally is what was on the line as we began negotiating these. So let's set the stage. Where are we right now? Why this order? Last week, in this very room, President Trump welcomed the CEO of Pfizer, and that company, a leading U.S. pharmaceutical company, pledged to provide exactly what the president promised. Massive discounts to allow us to have most favored nation drug pricing in this country so we don't allow our people to pay more than folks overseas. And this was unthinkable even 6 months ago, 7 months ago when we came into office. And Americans now have the ability to do that, but we needed to prove it was scalable. So we went to AstraZeneca, which is the leading pharmaceutical company, a leading company in the entire world, but a massive opportunity in this march to MFN, a march to most favored nation drug pricing. And to have this message land clearly, we needed to make sure that the president's
Okay, I don't know why we're live watching this. We'll get to it when the questions, the question time starts, okay? When the question time starts, then will be invested. In the last 15 minutes, we learned that John Bolton, the former national security advisor turned sharp critic of Donald Trump, is expected to be subject of a complaint or even an indictment as early as next week. MSNBC, citing two sources, is reporting exclusively that the acting U.S. attorney in Maryland is moving forward quickly to seek criminal charges against Bolton. Donald Trump's petty tyrant agenda of trying to criminally prosecute people that he has beef with continues. And the reality is that it's such a transparent attempt to weaponize the Department of Justice that I just don't think it holds any water whatsoever. Although it is fucking John Bolton, so I will say, let them fight. Okay, let them fight. Okay, that's it. Please ban me so I don't get recommended this channel anymore. That's so funny. No, do not ban them. Mods, do not ban. Do not ban that person. He is so stupid. He asked Fossabot. He must suffer. He must suffer. He must have to forcibly watch every day. Okay? He must suffer and forcibly watch every day. And perhaps maybe he will... You have a dog shot collars on us now too? Yes. I'm holding them hostage like I'm holding Kaya hostage. Yeah. Yo, this dog shot collar nonsense getting out of hand, bud. I just came from a YouTube video that was strictly about indie video games and the comments were full of comments about the incident. What can you do? The greatest antidote to slander is observable reality. Okay? Observable reality. There it is. You can't really get a good angle here. But what do you say? What do you do? I must have shocked her. I must have shocked her to sleep. I wonder how many people have unironically, bro, this shit got mentioned on CS2 ESL cast when someone was tasered. I mean, that's normal. That's how memes work. But I wonder how many people have actually come in here to be like, yo, this guy's a fucking real monster, huh? Let me go see how he treats this poor dog. And then they come in here and Kaya's just like chilling or coming up to me trying to get on my lap, and then they're like, okay, maybe that wasn't the case. There has to be at least like a couple hundred that have come in here to antagonize initially, and then they're like, I realized that maybe I was dumb. I just want to say I'm sorry. I heard about the stupid stuff you said. Stupid stuff said about you, and I believed it for a minute, but I was wrong. I felt it wouldn't be right if I didn't personally tell you. I just wanted to say that I'm gonna head out now, Hasan. You're a good guy, and you have a beautiful dog. Aw, see, there you go. My haters to lovers pipeline, dude. You don't need to say anything, chatter. No, actually, I'm glad the chatter did say that. Yeah, the greatest antidote to a faucet of lies is observable reality. Okay? That's it. It's funny how he insults others who don't buy what Hasan is selling. I mean, once again, observable reality. Stick around, chatter. You will also probably recognize that you might have been led astray, especially on this. Like there's an ideological commitment that you can have to assuming that my worldview is horrifying and bad and wrong or whatever. But in terms of like in terms of maintaining the assumption that like I'm abusive to my dog, there's just no evidence to this, and evidence only to the contrary. Incredible things are coming out of the first day of Barry Weiss's CBS editorial. Yeah, we're going to do that. Like, I half bought the interview to terrorist bullshit after that debate with your former podcast co-host I've turned in daily. This is unfortunately one of the negative consequences of experiencing things only in the immaterial world on the internet. I'm sorry, but animals who are abused will still show affection to their owners. Yes, sure, if you claim so. But there is literally zero evidence for this. Like, disproving this is impossible virtually, right? Like disproving a negative is impossible. Having said that, this is the closest you can get to with virtually tens of thousands of hours of documentation. But in any case, but they will show body language. Kai does not demonstrate body language that suggests she has ever been abused. Yes. It's very, very difficult to disprove delusions that people have made up on their minds. But this is the closest you can get to with all of the readily available evidence. There is just like one of the only things that you can actually actively disparage. Anyway, did you cover Trump talking about drug prices? Briefly, but it's mostly bullshit. All right, let's get back to the tariffs. Donald Trump to impose 100% additional tariffs on Chinese goods. It has just been learned that China has taken an extraordinarily aggressive position on trade in sending an extremely hostile letter to the world, stating that they were going to, effective November 1st, impose large-scale export controls on virtually every product they make, and some not even made by them. This affects all countries without exception and was obviously a plan devised by them years ago. It is absolutely unheard of in international trade and a moral disgrace in dealing with other nations. This is because China has damn near monopoly over the extraction, but not necessarily just the extraction, but like the development of rare earth minerals, okay? And that is the reason why Donald Trump is losing his mind. Oh my God, that's such a funny fucking photo for this article. That is such a funny photo of this article. China tightens export controls on rare earth metals. Why this matters. Move is a strategic one ahead of a new round of tricky trade talks with the United States. So they basically floated this when Donald Trump first came out with the big, beautiful tariff negotiations. This is not Bitcoin, Ethereum, or even a shitcoin. It's the S&P 500. And I don't know if China would have done this, but yeah, China controls around 70% of rare earth mineral extractions and around 90% of processing. It is as close to a monopoly as you can get. It is unimaginable, okay? The amount of power they have, especially considering that the stuff that you need for everything, okay? This is shit that you need to build anything, okay? Anything. Like your phone or any number of different like defense industry tools, okay? Everything. Because in the words of an incredibly brilliant man, everything's computer, everything's Tesla, everybody transgender. And China has basically said, yeah, everything is computer, as a matter of fact. You're not wrong. And it turns out we hold all the fucking cards. Okay. The new restrictions were announced by the Chinese Ministry of Commerce and come ahead of an expected meeting between Chinese President Xi Jinping and United States President Donald Trump later this month. The world's two largest economies have been locked in trade negotiations aimed at calming tensions after they raised tit-for-tat tariffs against each other earlier this year, before then agreeing to pull back on some of those levies. Rare earth metals are one of China's major levers of influence with the United States. What has China announced? In announcement number 61 of 2025, China said it was increasing export controls for 5 rare earth metals in addition to 7 it announced in April this year. Okay, the 5 metals added to the list are holmium, erbium, thulium, europium, and ytterbium. The 7 minerals China placed export restrictions on earlier this year are samarium, gadolinium, terbium, dysprosium, dysprosium. God damn it. Fucking hard as hell to read. Lutetium, scandium, and yttrium. These are 17 rare earth metals in total, and the 15 lanthanides, metallic elements on the periodic table, scandium and yttrium. Oh my God, I'm done reading this. Okay, China has now export restrictions on 12 of them. In addition, on Thursday, China also placed restrictions on the export of specialist technological equipment used to refine rare earth metals. Most of those restrictions will go into effect December 1st. Now, it is pretty funny when Donald Trump will be like, how dare China impose any sort of restrictions on these fucking metals, when for the entirety of our trade partnership with China, We have always enforced not just like direct restrictions from, I don't know, whatever kind of like defense goods or anything that we build that somehow makes its way back to China, but we have made other countries that are under the control of the American security apparatus, we have stopped them goods, certain key pieces of technology to China. Okay? It's just just something to consider. Anyway, to obtain the license, foreign companies must explain the intended use of the product they wish to use the Chinese rare earth metals to make. Now, of course, the saving grace here is China's endless need for trade maxing. The thing about rare earth metals is that they aren't actually rare at all. They're just hard to process. So we've just been coasting off of China without building the tech ourselves for years. Yeah. They're raw earth, not rare. So this in and of itself is certainly a major national security concern for the United States of America. That is, of course, if China doesn't trade max here and decides to shut off the faucet of rare earth metals that are necessary for American defense, for example, right? So I think this is just more so a posture. I don't believe that China will. This is a response to you forcing Japan, Korea, and the Netherlands to restrict more semiconductor tech exports in September because we are catching up on chip development. You cannot stop us, and you will lose, says Top G. I know, I already brought it up. I already mentioned that. Okay, Top G. It's just very funny for America to be like, how dare they do this to us? Yeah, it's just a point of leverage. Do I believe that China would actually stop the flow of commerce in any meaningful capacity? Do I believe that China will stop its endless need for trade maxing? No, I do not. I think this is just a way to tell America, like, this is the kind of power that we do have over international trade and international affairs in general, and therefore you should treat us as an equal partner in this endeavor, rather than consistently trying to blow up your design of global trade. Your design. Remember that time you shocked your dog? I don't remember. But thank you. You are going to be shocked when you find out that that is not the case. In any case, China cited national security interests as the reason for these new restrictions. Rare earth related items have dual use properties for both. Oh my God, this is so American coded in terms of the language being used here. Dual use properties for both civilian and military applications. Implementing export controls on them is an international practice, a Chinese Ministry of Commerce spokesperson told reporters on Thursday. The spokesperson added that certain foreign organizations and individuals have been directly transferring or processing and then transferring controlled rare earth materials originating from China to relevant organizations and individuals directly or indirectly for military and other sensitive applications. Oh, he's taking questions now, including the China question. Let's take a look.
Now, I'm not sure that Pascal would like to say, but behind the scenes he did say tariffs were a big reason he came here, and also the fact he loved Virginia. He liked this guy. He liked me. I think the November 5th election was a very important date. We had a good election, and that was important. But yeah, he's here. A lot of. I can speak for almost everybody that's here. Most of them are here because of tariffs. Because
there's a real possibility this backfires on China and encourages other countries to invest a lot more in their own processing, just like how chip restrictions inadvertently led China to building its own supply chains before it relied on the West. China may ironically be giving up its leverage if they go through with this. Yeah, that's precisely the reason why I don't think they will go through with this. It's just a point of leverage in the American negotiations, because America would not be able to withstand any sort of significant limitation to continuing to get rare earth metals from China. That's it. There's 0% chance, I think, that they would just give up on this monopoly power that they have. I'm even surprised that they would flex this hard.
Where did that come from?
But I suspect that this probably also comes with additional assurances to Western
import-export
allies
concept.
of America and not the United States of America that they will continue to do trade in the same exact ways. And this is more so a strategic posture against the United States of America because America is uniquely vulnerable as a direct consequence of its endless greed in the way that it actually designed global trade that was incredibly beneficial for the 80s and 90s boom.
We have airplanes, we have airplane parts. You remember that from last time. We were just surprised at China. I have a very good relationship with President Xi, and they did that. This is not something that I, instigated.
There's a
this
betting
was
market that I'm
just a
gonna be
response to
arrested by
something
October
that they did.
31st. What
they
the
didn't
fuck?
really aim it at us. They aimed it at the whole world. The whole world is
Rug pulled at the
is
beginning.
subject to it. So I thought it was very, very bad. But we have
One
many
can
things,
hope.
including a
Free
big thing is
Kaya.
airplanes. They have a lot of
Why?
Boeing planes, and they need parts and lots of things like that. Steve.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to accept the Gaza deal, and what will be your message to the Knesset when you speak to them?
Well, he wanted it. It's been a long time. He's been fighting a long time. He's been fighting hard. He wanted it.
Wait a minute. I could literally bet on this and make a fuck ton of money by just like doing something minor that would then cause me to get arrested. No? Like, how the fuck does that even work? Yes, why did you reveal that though? That's why all these wager sites suck ass. Yeah. Let me go have a little fun drinking and driving. This is straight up like the fucking South Park episode. And no, I'm not going to risk putting myself in the custody of the state. That's very stupid. No, King's rally on October 18th is not a hate America rally. Quite the contrary. It's a rally of millions of people who believe in American freedoms. Yeah, that's... Let's see what else.
Also going to Egypt, they were terrific. But all of the countries were great. Indonesia was great. Jordan was great. They were all great. Everybody wants this deal to happen.
What happens in Gaza the day after the hostage release?
Day after what?
The day after the hostage release, what happens there then?
Well, hopefully you're going to have great success I call it everlasting success. I think you will too. I think you're going to have tremendous success, and Gaza is going to be rebuilt. And you have some very wealthy countries, as you know, over there. And it would take a small fraction of
Norway pledged a
their,
probe into possible insider
their
trading on
wealth
Poly Market ahead of
to do
today's
that.
Nobel Prize announcement.
And I think they want to do it. And we're also setting up, as you know, a board of peace. It's called the Board of Peace.
God, we live in
That's
such
the final name, but
unprecedentedly stupid
the word
times.
peace is definitely in there. They have asked me if I chair it. We'll make sure things go well.
And how confident are you that the ceasefire will hold?
I think it'll hold, yeah. I think it'll hold. They're all tired of the fighting. Don't forget, you had October 7th, which was a horrible day, 1,200 people killed. But Hamas has lost 58,000 people. That's big retribution. That's big retribution. People understand that. So,
Yeah, Hamas
no, I think
is
they're all
I like
tired
that
of
he's just
fighting.
saying the quiet part out loud. He's
And
like,
it's
every
really-
Palestinian is Hamas. Is true.
This is beyond Gaza. Gaza is very important, but this is beyond Gaza. This is peace in the Middle East, and it is a beautiful thing. It's a term that you and I have been hearing since we were very young, right? And now we have a chance of really having that. And as you know, most of the countries have passed all these resolutions. Every country is there. Iran came in. I was very happy to see that. I was very honored that Iran came in. They said they support it. Russia came in. President Putin, he supports it fully, very fully. So I was happy to see even countries that weren't necessarily involved in the process, they all support it. I don't know of anybody that does it. And I've never seen happier people than many of these places, not just Israel. Many of these places, they're all dancing in the streets. I've never seen anything like it.
Mr. President,
Yeah, go ahead, please, in the
So
back.
thank you. What guarantees did you give Hamas to persuade them that Israel will restart the bombing campaign once the hostages have been exchanged?
What did I do with respect to them? Well, I spoke a little bit tough, and that's what would happen. I mean, you have to speak tough. That's a tough world. That's a tough, as they say, neighborhood. And they're tough people. They're very tough people, and they're smart people. They're good negotiators. They have a lot of things going. They put that to good use. They're going to be very, very successful. But they knew the retribution would be tremendous, unsustainable. It would have been unsustainable. It would have been complete obliteration, and they didn't want that. And nobody wants it at this point. They want to get on with rebuilding the entire Middle East. It's not only Gaza. It's going to be the entire Middle East. They're going to be able to live in peace. Now, we have some little hot spots, but they're very small. You know the ones I'm talking about. They're very small. They'll be very easy to put out. Those fires are going to be put out very quickly. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. President. Talking about the Middle East still, going to the phases that come after this first phase, is there a consensus on the additional points in your plan, or are the details still being fine-tuned?
I think there is consensus on most of it, and some of the details, like anything else, will be worked out, because you'll find out that when you're sitting in a beautiful room in Egypt.
Where's the dog, bro?
It's easy to work something out, but then sometimes it doesn't work from
On
a
the
practical
ground.
standpoint. So certain little
Laying
things,
on the
but
ground.
for the most part, there's consensus, yes.
Do you intend to hash that
Probably
out?
terrible for her fucking
Yeah, I
joints.
mean, I'll be there, because I'll be going to, I think I'll go to Cairo.
She's
I
dead.
think that's where we're going, as
She did. I
opposed to the
shocked
place
her.
of
I
the
shocked her so much that she
signing.
died.
We have a lot of leaders from all over the world coming too. They've been invited. And then I'm coming back, I believe it's Tuesday night, for Charlie Kirk, a friend of mine, a friend of all of ours, a friend of a lot of the people right here. And we're giving him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is the highest honor you get outside of the Congressional Medal of Honor. One's military, one's civilian, but it's the greatest honor. And Erica's beautiful wife is going to be here, and a lot of people are going to be here. So, it's not easy for me to get back. It's a very quick trip, but I'll be making 2 major stops, and then I'll be on the plane trying to get back in time for Charlie. They're going to have a great celebration at the White House, in the East Room of the White House.
Mr. President? Russell Vogt said the reductions in force have begun related to this shutdown. How many layoffs have you authorized for this first round, and from which agencies?
And it'll be Democrat-oriented, because we figure, they started this thing, so they should be Democrat-oriented. It'll be a lot, and we'll announce the numbers over the next couple of days, but it'll be a lot of people, all because of the Democrats. I mean, they want to give $1.5 trillion to people that came into the country illegally. More important than that, because we all have a big heart. We want people to be taken care of, but we have 0 people coming in. You know that, Glenn, right? That's a pretty impressive number, even for a successful governor. But we've had, for the last 4 months, 0 people coming in illegally. They're coming in, but they're coming in legally. They're coming in through a process that's really a really good process right now, because we want people to come in, but they have to come in legally. So what we're doing is, as these different groups come due, we're going to make a determination. Do we want them or not? And I must tell you, a lot of them happen to be Democrat-oriented. These are people that the Democrats wanted, that in many cases were not appropriate. We fought them at the time, and it was ultimately signed in. And some of these people, these are largely people that the Democrats want. Many of them will be fired. Yes, please, behind.
The Nobel Peace Prize was announced this morning. Your thoughts?
Which one?
The Nobel Peace Prize. Your thoughts?
Look, including a very big one, and I'm not sure, when you say big, it's certainly, I think, to the mind of most, the most important deal ever made in terms of peace. But the one we just signed, it's been signed, sealed, and it's going to start taking place now. It's already started. Monday's going to be a very big day when the hostages come back. But I made 8 deals, transactions of wars. One was 31 years going on. 10 million people were killed. One was 34 years. One was 36, 37. One was 10. One was just starting. 2 were just starting, actually, but they were well on their way. In the case of India and Pakistan, 7 planes were shot down. It was a bad one. And I did it largely through trade. I mean, that one, numerous of them. I talked tariffs. I said, look, if you're going to do that, we're going to put very big tariffs on your country. And they were both great. They stopped fighting, and there were 2 nuclear powers. So, they're all big. They're every one of them big. You take a look at the Congo. You take a look at the Congo and Rwanda. 10 million people killed over a long period of time. Got that one solved. We did a total of 8 as of this 2 days ago. I would have said 7, which I did say, but the other one was signed up, sealed. As you know, Israel signed it just now. They signed it and they approved it today, their parliament. And it's a great honor to be involved with so many. So the person who actually got the Nobel Prize called me and said, I'm accepting this in honor of you because you really deserved it. A very nice thing to do. I didn't say then give it to me though. I think she might have. She was very nice, and I've been helping her along the way. They need a lot of help in Venezuela. It's a basic disaster. So, and you could also say it was given out for 24, and I was running for office in 24. All of the transactions that we did in terms of closing, but there are those that say we did so much that they should have done it, but I'm happy because I saved millions of lives, many millions of lives. And speaking of somebody that saves lives, don't ever play golf with him because Keegan Bradley just walked in, one of the greatest golfers in the world, the captain of the Ryder Cup. And man, I'll tell you did a good job. You almost came back. I turned on, I said, I sort of turned off. It wasn't looking good. And then a little while later, I turned on. I said, you guys might that would have been the miracle. What a great job. He's respected by those golfers like nobody. And I just want to compliment you, Keegan. That was an incredible job. Right here, we have a lot of unfriendly fake news media. And he's not used to that. He's used to getting only good publicity, I think, Howard. These are all golfers. But you're some golfer, I'll tell you that, and some leader. Thank you very much. Great job. Thank you, Keegan.
Mr. President, on China.
Yeah, please.
On immigration, ICE are making arrests, targeted arrests at courthouses in New York City and around the country.
Criminals, arresting criminals, that's right. Yeah, go ahead. I'm happy about it. I want them to arrest criminals. And if you take a look at D.C., a year ago, D.C. our great capital was a very unsafe place. You know that. Some of you were mugged and talk openly about it. Some of the media was mugged. But right now, D.C. is one of the safest. The restaurants are booming. They're opening up new restaurants. The restaurants are all closing. Now you can't get into a restaurant. They're opening up new restaurants. It took 12 days for us. We sent in not politically correct military. We sent them in based on merit. We won the case in the Supreme Court. Everything now is based on merit. Our country was founded on things based on merit. Like Keegan Bradley's not going to be playing golf if he wasn't a great player. If he shoots lower scores, there's no more merit system than that one, Keegan, right? If you miss a putt.
Yeah, the military is just like golfing, based on merit. Trump's ridiculous. Trump's utterly ridiculous decisions to deploy the military on domestic soil is totally not meritless. Definitely good reasons for this. The frogmen in Portland. Also, you cheat in golf, so it's pretty funny that he's just like talking about the merit of the golf.
I can't even believe how much better it is. And it'll take probably a month over there, and we're heading to Chicago because we want to save Chicago. Do you know they had over 4,000 people killed in Chicago over a short...
Also, look at this incredibly merit-based approach that Trump has to his cabinet. Look at all the fucking dipshits behind him. Once again, a beacon of merit.
World, I don't believe that can claim... You hear so much about different... I won't, embarrass anybody, like by saying Mexico City or by saying anywhere in Afghanistan. There's no place like that. And then I have to listen to the mayor who's got a 5% approval rate, maybe less. He's an incompetent man. And the governor's an incompetent guy. He's a guy that was thrown out of his family business like a dog. And I know his family very well. And now he's a governor. And when I watch him trying to say that it's okay, we have crime under control. I lost 4,000 people over a very short period of time. I believe it's like 7,000 people were shot but didn't die. But 4,000 people died. And then he gets up and talks about how it's not a problem. Or Portland, Oregon. I mean, every time I look at that place, the place is burning down. There's fires all over the place. When a store owner, there are very few of them left, but when a store owner rebuilds a store, they build it out of plywood, and they don't put up storefronts anymore. They just put wood up because they know it's going to be ripped down. And then I hear how wonderful it is. It's not wonderful. It's a disaster. That's almost an insurrection, that place. So we put our people in there, and they do the job, and they've really done the job. And the beautiful thing is we've done it. 12 days we had this place safe, and now it's, I would say within a month, it was beautiful. And it continues to be. That was 3 months ago. I'll tell you, D.C. now is one of the hottest places, just like this country. We were a dead country, and you've heard me say it 100 times. We were a dead country. King of Saudi Arabia said it. Others say. The Emir of Qatar said it. Many. UAE said it. The leader, great leader, UAE, all great leaders. They said effectively the same thing. 1 year ago, we had a dead country. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
I just want to thank everybody, and I want to, in particular, thank AstraZeneca. What a great company you have. What a company you've built.
Whoa.
It's an honor to have you.
We like big pharma now? That's crazy. Don't say that in front of RFK's brainworm, dude. He's going to freak out.
I was going to say, could he make it a little bit more? Well, we have a couple of them where they're going to spend $65 billion on one plant, AI. All I know is it's, AI is based on information. I hope they're right about information. I don't know. You got to make a lot of money there's got to be a lot of information out there, but that seems to be pretty hot. But we
Has
have a
he
lot.
seen the report?
We're leading the world on
AI is
information.
based on information. I hope it's good. Otherwise, it's a lot of money.
And I want to thank everybody, but in particular, Pascal, thank you very much. It's a great honor. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Have a good time.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Let's go. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thank you, press.
Thank you, press. That's cool. That gives me a lot of confidence seeing the president basically cast some doubt on what our entire economy